And we're live, coming to you live from obviously not my office. I am coming to you from the beautiful city of West Vancouver in British Columbia, Canada, where I am living in an echo chamber. Does it sound terrible on your end as it does on my end? Um, hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully the hopefully the levels kind of fix themselves in StreamYard there. Um, quick video today. We're just gonna do. I'm gonna talk about Legions Con weekend very briefly because I'm going to talk about that tomorrow on my regular Sunday video. I'm going to talk about the weekend as a whole, but I'll just do a little bit of the Four Horsemen stuff tonight. Then we are going to go over the Rising Suns wave, and then we're going to wrap it up quick and easy. Bing, bang, boom. So I went to Legions Con in middle of nowhere, New Jersey. I don't know exactly where it was. It was in a hotel. I never left the hotel, but I didn't need to because everything was there. There was an Irish pub on site. There was tons of Mythic Legions on site, and there was tons of really great people on site. So all in all, just a really good weekend. If you guys get the chance to check out Legions Con, I would strongly recommend it. It is well worth the trip. Toys aside, it's just a really fun weekend to hang out with a bunch of really great people. The Mythic Legions community as a whole is just a very positive, encouraging, engaging community. So I flew into New Jersey on Thursday. Somebody that I've never met, that I'd never spoken to before in the Mythic Legions cabal put sort of a post up that said, does anybody need a ride from the airport on Thursday? I said, I'll take a ride. He wasn't even flying in. He was driving in from Buffalo. He drove in from Buffalo, dropped his stuff off at the hotel, came and picked me up from the airport and drove me to the hotel just because. So shout out to Stoatzilla, who picked me up from the airport and drove me to the hotel. And then on Monday, drove me back. It boggles the mind. Then on top of that, Stoat had a full cooler all weekend, Thursday night through Sunday night, full cooler full of beer, ciders, whatever you want. Every night in the lobby, there was a big sort of table kind of island, and every night a couple boxes of booze came out, cups came out, snacks came out, whatever, and it was just everybody just shared it, had a really good time, just hung out in the lobby till all hours of the morning. I think Thursday night, the latest I heard anybody that was up was 4:30. Friday night, I think, was about the same, about 4 o'clock. By Saturday night, people were a little bit gassed, so I think it only went till about 2, so it was a little bit tamer on Saturday night. And Sunday night was about 1 o'clock, give or take. So it's worth going, like I said, just to go and hang out and have a good time with the fine folks in the Mythic Legions community. The venue itself looked a little something like this. So next to this, there was the main lobby where everybody kind of hung out and partied. Then you went down this hall, and at the end of this hall, there's another little lobby kind of sitting area, which is where we went when we got kicked out of the main lobby, because the main lobby is sort of, right where people are coming and going. And after about 12:30 or 1 o'clock every night, they kind of pushed us in the direction of that sitting room at the end of that long hallway there. And then just next to that is where the main ballroom was, conference room, whatever. I don't know what they call it, but it was the main space where they did the show. Then on Friday morning, starting at I think it was 10 a.m. if I remember correctly, 10 a.m. On local time, there was G-Con, and I sat with some Knights of the North. I sat next to Johnny and Ray, um, and two other fellas. Now I can't remember the names. I feel terrible. But like I said, really good time. A lot of fun. Um, Now let's see. Very quickly, I'm going to check in with the chat here. Sam Rock is hanging out. Sathyam is here as well. Michael is here. Now I feel like I'm not getting all the comments. Full disclosure, I'm staying in a condo that doesn't have Wi-Fi, so we're kind of making it work as best we can using an iPhone as a hotspot. But I don't know if I'm getting comments coming through. So let me very quickly try to pull up the video on YouTube to see if there's more going on than I realize, which there might very well be. Yeah, there is. So, anyways, that's okay. We'll work around it. We'll make do. If this drops, if the thing just drops and I disappear, it's down to technology. So my apologies. Um, Tyler is here as well. All right. So then, like I said, we got GCon. I'll be perfectly honest. GCon it's long to sit there. I think it was 4, 5, 6 hours, however long it was. I think they did a reveal about every 30 minutes. Um, you could come and go. It wasn't an issue at all. At one point, I left, grab a snack, um, and went back. Um, it was. I just wanted all the reveals right away. That being said, it was fun to hang out. There was a whole bunch of people. This is this is just I cropped this photo down big time. Um, this particular room I think sat 200. It wasn't full, but there was probably 130 to 150 people in there. So a decent size turnout for that. And they went over, the wave of figures. So why don't we take a look at the wave? Here it is, the Rising Suns wave. I'm going to go over it in the order that it's on no, I'm going to try to go over it in the order that I remember them presenting it. So forgive me if I get this wrong. And we're just going to go through the wave, and then I'll jump back in and sort of take a look at, if you guys have any questions about the weekend, comments about the figures, anything like that. But so starting off, they kicked it off with the Viking, this really badass Viking, Broder of Bjorngar. Sorry, I've heard it so many times and said it so many times, but it still doesn't roll off the tongue as you think it might. Now, we later found out the Broder of Bjorngar is actually a sort of tribute figure in name to Brad from Legion's Lair. Brad got, Broder as a named figure. There was, I think, 4 or 5 different names that got sort of attached to figures. So I'll mention those as we go through them as well. But this is just a badass figure. I mean, the Viking, people have been sort of asking for a Viking figure for quite some time. And this is a great example of one. So you get the fur, you get all the buckles, you get all it was belts on belts on belts. This whole wave is like just, it's like if you are anything like me and you like the belts on figures, this wave has got you covered. And, hey, Trevor, what's going on, my friend? Kelly says it's flocking time. There was a severe lack of Xylonis flock characters in this wave, but I guess that makes sense since it wasn't a Xylonis flock wave. But yeah, Broder of Bjorngar, badass Viking with that really cool Viking helmet. Now you can't really see it from the pictures. I'm just trying to find one that might help. But let me start over here. This helmet, you can kind of see it there. The helmet is actually over a face, so there is a full face underneath the mask. So it's not like the alternate where the whole head is sort of sculpted as one. The face is sculpted separately. The mask comes over. Um, Fur on the shoulders, new pauldrons, new chest piece, new bare arm. I think they're new bare arm. I'm pretty sure they're new bare arms. Both arms are bare from the shoulder down. They're thicker than the existing arms, with improved articulation. Um, then we get the new boots with the fur on the cuff there. So just really, really cool. And most figures in this wave have a similar thing going, where it's like almost entirely new pieces. Um, New accessories, new weapons, all that stuff. We get this really, really cool Viking round shield. The shield itself, I will pull up. I'm going to take a look at the accessories here. So this shield, the centerpiece there, is removable. It is swappable, so there's different versions of it in the wave that we will see. The axe is new. As I said, the pauldrons are new. You get tons of hands in there as well, and some fun accessories. You get the alternate head as well that we've seen before on a barbarian, but now just a slightly different coloring here for Bjorn, Broder of Bjorngar. I'm going to move through these quick because I got to keep this video. Unfortunately, I got to keep this video a little bit shorter than I typically would. But I believe the second reveal was Manisha Cinderhorn. Now, we've seen Cinderhorns before. We've seen Shadow Elves before. So this is the daughter of Malachi Cinderhorn. But unlike her father, she sort of aligned herself with, Red Star. And again, just a really, really badass 2.0 figure. And everybody knows that I have a fondness for 2.0 figures. I may be in the minority, but I'm okay being in the minority. The cape looks fantastic. It's two colors, so it's blue on the outside, black on the inside. You get the soft goods skirt as well. A bunch of new 2.0 pieces. You've got the new boots, the new cuffs, the new feet. Importantly, the feet. The feet are flatter. Apparently, they stand up better. So here's hoping. New chest, new torso, two-piece torso. New head as well, and she comes with 3 different heads. So we've seen the sort of full-length hair elf head before. I can't remember who it was now. The Whisperling Elf, the female Whisperling Elf. But then we get that masked head that we see in most of the pictures. And then we get Ziri's head from Cosmic Legions reused there as well. Some fun new accessories, a new spear, the tons of extra hands, which is great, absolutely great to get those. And then every one of these also gets, as almost as a bonus, but like I think we take it for granted. Trevor, if you're still here, I think I want to mention this. I think people take for granted that we're going to get like an absolutely perfect, beautiful photo of all these figures. But somebody has to take those, and for Mythic Legions, it's Trevor. It's 1/6 shooter getting out these amazingly beautiful shots of all these figures. And he's not getting full figures that pose nice and stuff like that. He has to work with what he gets, and a lot of them are prototype figures, so they don't move as well as the production one will. But yeah, just absolutely amazing figure. I can't remember what was next. So now there's a few that sort of now I don't know what's next. So I'm just gonna go with the other 2.0 figure. Let's do that. The other 2.0 figure was of course Dis Patar, who is a Scorian, which is a brand new race in Mythos. He seems to be kind of like some sort of bug-like creature. He's got the 4 arms, and he doesn't really have hands. He has more of like a crab-like claw, but just a ton of fun. He's also got the really, really cool scorpion tail that does come off. So the tail and the extra set of arms come off. So if you just want to use this guy as 2.0 fodder, you can certainly do that. I mean, you could, and again, like I said, we get this beautiful shot from Trevor. Look at like all the blades just look amazing. And again, you know, new accessories. So the torches are new. We get that new sort of very Asian influenced sword, new shoulder pauldrons, two heads with this figure, but among the two heads, there's also the mask is interchangeable, so you can get sort of 4 different looks, I think is what they said. So just a lot of potential for you know, there it is. So there's that was the last bit. I thought it was up here. So there's 4 different options, right? So there's effectively 2 different heads as well as 2 pieces. So there's sort of the mask, the sort of chainmail mask type thing. I don't know what it's called. And then the mask over the eyes. It's sort of an interchangeable piece there. So you kind of mix and match and get the look that you want. And again, just a really, really cool, really fun figure. You can see there, you know, the sort of bug characteristics. He's got those sort of the clawed toad foot, and then you see the hands. I had to take a really close look at these once they posted these up, sort of in the venue in the showcase, to look at those hands, and they're more like a claw than they are like a hand. It's just it doesn't have fingers. I'm using my hand, so you don't really get the idea, but I think that makes sense the way that I'm explaining it. Hopefully that makes sense the way I'm explaining it. But new 2.0 soft good or sort of cloth look arms, cloth look legs, those new boots as well. So as I said, lots of potential use for customization and stuff with 2.0. It's going to be interchangeable with 2.0, existing 2.0 parts as well. So that's Dees Patar, another really great figure. We will move on to the next figure after I quickly check in with the chat. Tyler says Bjorngar looks great. I love the shield. Yes, the shield looks phenomenal. I'm pretty sure it's the same shield that comes with Neve, which to me means that you should be able to embed the arrows in it. But I was when I was looking through these earlier, that sort of thought occurred to me. But I'm not 100% certain on that. But Kelly Chase, a severe lack of Otho, but I won't go down that road today. I think we're still going to get an Otho version 2. I think it just has to make sense. You know, if we just got a wave that was just version 2 of all the characters that people really, really wanted, that would be fine. But then we wouldn't get, you know, Dees Patar. We wouldn't get, you know, a new Minotaur. So I'm okay with it. I'm here for, you know, 1 or 2 version 2s per wave, just to sort of refresh characters, refresh, you know, as the figures, it's the parts library increases. I think if it justifies, you know, a certain figure having a 2.0, I'm all for it. I don't, you know, it's so to kind of compare that to like GI Joe stuff, and I know that that's, you know, we're talking about Mythic Legions, but like the GI Joe classified guys that just want all the dreadnoks, and they're like, why won't Hasbro give me all the dreadnoks right now? I mean, the Four Horsemen want you to stick around. You know, they'll give you Atlas, and they'll give you, you know, Scapular version 2 now, and the next time you'll get Otho version 2 and Thistlethorn version 2 or whatever. I don't know. We're not going to get a version 2 of Thistlethorn, I don't think, but yeah, I'm happy to get 1 or 2 version 2s per wave kind of thing. But I don't want all the version 2s right away. Like I want them to kind of space them out so that they're more fun, they're more exciting. That's my 2 cents on it. Kelly, I think we're going to get Otho version 2. I just, you know, I don't think it fit this wave, right? Maybe it'll fit the next wave. We'll see. Trevor says this was the one that fell over 7 times. Cinderhorn. The new one with the new feet. I thought the feet were supposed to be better, but oh well. I generally I haven't had too much problem with my 2.0 figures. I haven't found that mine fall over too much. Now they're posed in a pretty vanilla sort of just standing pose on the shelf, so maybe that's partly why. Um, yeah, and Satham says photos are always brilliantly cinematic. Yes, absolutely. Miss Jessam, welcome, welcome, welcome. Fantastic work by Keithlin and CJ on this wave as well. There's some really really fun pieces. When we get to Scapular specifically, that the fully cloaked incognito scapular is quite amazing. Attorney Ellipse is here. What's going on? Josh Mick is hanging out as well. NYC Figure Fanatic is hanging out as well. Trev says, I don't think they're the same shield. Okay, fair enough. There you go. I mean, maybe they're not. Okay. Quips here as well. Oh, okay. So Trev's saying it fell over because it's a prototype, not because of the feet. Okay, that's good to know. I think so. Trevor, you had it in hand. Are those feet are a little bit more stable, right? They're a little bit wider, a little bit less like a high heeled boot, for lack of a way to describe them. All right, next, let's take a look at the Exiles from Under the Mountain. Again, this was a case where this is a two-pack, two-pack of dwarves. The names that they list aren't specific to any of the dwarves themselves, but we get Anton of the Forge, Kevin Dragobane, Chris. So this was the Mythic Legions Dwarves Facebook group, the Kings Under the Mountain, basically getting recognition for their passion and love of these are a ton of fun. I mean, there's waiting. Yeah. If it it's not cooperating right now. I'm back. Am I back? Ay. Let's see if I can get this to work. Jeez. Trevor said that the new feet are bigger than the original 2.0 feet, which is good news. Let me see if I can share my screen again. All right, okay, we're back. Technology, eh? It's great until it's not. Okay, so we get the bigger 2.0 feet on the 2.0 figures, which is awesome. That's very, very good news. Josh says he got his Animal Warriors of the print. Good to hear. Enjoy it. That is like a one of one. So, Solo Center says, Trevor, absolutely great work. So talented. Bought so many figures I wouldn't normally have just based on the pics, making them look so good. Tyler says, I've been getting all my mounts except the moose from eCollectibles. I ordered the Griffin. That Griffin looks dope too. I, I, I don't have space. Plus, I need a bear now. Who knew I was going to need a bear? I mean, let's be honest. They put out a bear. I'm going to get it. But Mr. Wonderful is here. What's going on? All right, taking a look at the dwarves. So one thing I will mention is that the pictures. This one sort of reflects it correctly. In person, the one dwarf is quite a bit darker than I think some of the pictures reflect. Think that in the Poxus wave, I think it's sort of similar. But again, like I was saying, belts, new pauldrons, new accessories, new weapons. You get so much cool stuff here, and it's all very much designed for the dwarves. It's smaller. It's got that kind of angular architectural feel to a lot of it, which I find really, really cool. I'm not even a dwarf guy, but this two pack really interests me just because of the sheer amount of new stuff and unique stuff. What I find really interesting about this wave, this whole wave, is that we're getting away from the what I think is a little bit more generic, and we're getting more and more into like the dwarves have a particular look. Each sort of group has a different look, and I'm really looking forward, going forward, to more of the same. I want the elves to look more elven. I want the orcs to look more orkin or something like that. Um, my wife is are you saying that's not a word? No, that's not a word. Okay. But this is a great example here, right? Like we get these new helmets. We're just getting tons of new stuff. The new axes, the new torches. I really love this new sword, this little dwarven sword, which is shorter. It's stubbier. The old dwarf sword just looked like a sword that wasn't. I don't know, like it didn't quite work for me. This one works perfectly. The shield, I think, is fantastic. I really, really like this shield. And I'm glad that we can also get the dwarf weapons pack. I'm not even going to talk about the weapons packs because I time wise, I'm just not going to bother. Um, but I'm definitely going to pick up the weapons packs as well because I just think that getting more of this stuff early just makes it so much more fun. To kit out your existing dwarves and stuff like that. So yeah, and the color palette on these guys looks fantastic. And then they added the cape. Oh, I forgot about the cape too. You get the hooded cape. Um, Man, I'm gonna need a couple of those capes for sure. The female dwarf as well is just a really, really cool addition. The dwarf guys at GCon were absolutely loving this two pack, loving both of these figures. And I think genuinely the reception, even among non-dwarf people, was that these are great figures. There's, I don't. I don't think anybody was like, nah, I can pass because, you know, they're just boring old dwarfs or whatever. Next up, let's take a look at this one just to get this guy. This guy is really, really cool as well. Yoshanai Kari, who is a yokai Nari. Again, another new race. Not something that I think people were necessarily expecting. Although I think, you know, the Asian armor that we saw on the Monkey King, it was a no-brainer that we were going to get this again in the line, and it makes sense to get it in soon, and use it often. But again, just a really, really cool figure. Initially, I think everybody had the first reaction that this was an orc in sort of an Asian inspired armor. But it is in fact a new race. It is more of like an Oni type of race. The armor looks fantastic. Again, we get, you know, more of those new swords. We get the soft goods from C. Jessam. I always get it wrong. It's C. Jessam. It's anyway. I think. Feel free to correct me, Keithlin, if you're still watching. C. Jessam is the company together. But you get, you know, again, that skirting, the sort of sash type thing there as well. Great color, the dark red with the red on top. The Monkey King armor that gets reused here, the Monkey King was very bright and vibrant and colorful. This is a very muted kind of dark, I think very perfectly suited to the Oni. And then you get two of these Asian swords, which I think is really, really cool. And then you get this sort of long staff with the blade on the end. I don't know what that's called. That version is very Chinese. There's a Japanese version called the Naginata, which is very similar to this. But again, just really, really cool. Tons of hands again as well. The energy, so the horns aren't horns at all. It's sort of like an energy aura coming out of this demon's head, and it is in fact translucent. So, I mean, I'm a sucker for translucent stuff. I guess I'm gonna have to get this one too. Um, Next up, we will take a look at what are we gonna take a look at next? We'll take a look at Neve. She is a frost elf. She is a 1.0 body. So this is, you know, one of these new 1.0 female buck figures. And I think that's great. I'm all for, you know, getting more body types, more body shapes, and things like that, both for the males and the females. You know, I can't wait for more brute scale figures as well, just to sort of mix in there. She looks badass. Again, the color palette is really, really fantastic. The texture on the sort of skirting, the texture on the boots, you know, with the fur, and on the cuffs, and on the sort of chest piece, like the hair as well, like all of the texture, all of the sculpting is just really, really on point. It's phenomenal. New belts, again, more belts, more pauldrons. That shield that I thought was the same, it may be different. Stay tuned. You know, feel free to ask the Four Horsemen. But it's got this really cool feature where these arrows are able to be sort of plugged into the shield. You can take them out if you don't want them. So depending on how you're posing her up, you can get, I think, up to like 6 arrows embedded in that shield, which looks really, really cool. And you get this, so this again is an interchangeable piece. You see in the weapons pack, you can see this little sort of bear head sigil as a separate piece. And she comes with, again, a new sword, which is pretty unique. And whatever this is too, I mean, it's just so much new stuff. And the last few waves have been the same, where it's been new stuff wave after wave after wave. And I keep thinking like, oh, we're gonna sort of hit a natural spot where like they start reusing this stuff in more obvious ways. But even where they're reusing stuff now, the parts library is expanding so rapidly that I barely notice. I barely notice when they reuse stuff, and they do such a good job, of putting things together in such a way that they don't feel repetitive. There's Trevor's shot. I mean, these are all Trevor's shots, but there's Trevor's, kind of dramatic money shot there. So look how good she looks. It's funny. As I mentioned, she is a frost elf, so you don't notice it at first because she's a 1.0 body, but she does have the elf ears. They're there. So I love elves. I again, what am I gonna do? All right, next we're going to take a look at Regarion. So Regarion is a Northlands Minotaur. This dude is big. So he is ogre scale. Um, he's. I heard some people kind of complaining that the front is white and the back is painted brown. I think it looks really good, and I think maybe it's one of those things where I did have to look at the physical model on the display to really get a better feel for seeing it from the side and sort of getting an idea of like the balance of the white and the brown. Um, so you can sort of see there that like the chest and the front of the arms is white, and then that head is brown, and people kind of felt like it didn't really work. I think he looks like a cow, if that makes sense. The arms are brown on the back, they're brown on the forearms. You get the brown heads. I think it works. I think this is one of those figures where people may pass on it and may regret that later, because I think this guy in hand is going to look absolutely fantastic. Um, he has, more of a Minotaur in this scale for me just feels more balanced than when they tried to when you look at like Asterion. Asterion has that neck piece and then that big old chonkin head on the top, and he feels a little bit imbalanced, and he doesn't feel tall enough. He's a 1.0 figure. He has the hooves, which makes him a little bit taller, but this guy in an ogre scale, forget it. Like, this is the Minotaur that you're gonna want. Um, he's got some parts that we've seen before. So that hammer we saw in the Nate Barch, half giant pack, the shoulder pauldrons as well. But that head is totally new. I like that longer kind of yak fur kind of look that they've got going on his head, and then he's got that sort of carry through onto the neck. Um, the skulls there are from the Necronominus wave, of course. So just altogether a really, really fun, really cool figure. This is honestly one of my favorites in the wave, and I think just the general reaction. And I mean, people might warm up to it. Maybe this was just people that I was talking to. The reaction that I was hearing was that people didn't really love this one as much as I did. Now, I do love, animal figures. I do love, the creatures. So maybe there's a little bit of a bias there. But this is definitely one that I'm going to pick up in the wave. Instant buy. Like that was sort of, you gotta have that one. As I said, I'm going to skip the weapons packs. You guys can look at those. They're weapons packs. There's there's not much to say about those. So we've got 2 figures and 2 mounts left. But before we do that, I'm just going to quickly jump into the chat here and say hello to people that have joined, and check a couple more comments. So Tyler says, I'll be getting the bear to go with the moose. You could just be buying Mythic Legions characters for like the animal characters at this point. Um, between the horses, the moose, the bear, whatever comes next, there's plenty of animals for your action figure collection. Josh says, getting things like torches, drinking horns, and torques is such a surprising development in this wave. Really helps with the world building for our shelves and dioramas. Yes, 100%. And a question was asked at G-Con. Somebody asked about how with the Ox Crew wave of Cosmic Legions, the 4 Horsemen included those crates and the like computers and stuff. And somebody asked, is there the possibility for us to see that in Mythic? To which they said, kind of based on the reaction to the Ox Crew set, that they're seriously considering it. So I would love to see that. I would love to see, more stuff to sort of add, into Dios and into sort of world build, like you said, Josh. I would love to see that. There's so many talented customizers and like custom parts makers that there is already a lot of that. But as somebody that lives in Canada and has to pay shipping on a lot of that time, sometimes it just doesn't make sense for me to pick it up. Sometimes it's just not feasible and it's just not economically reasonable, to pay $50 to ship, a $10 or $15 or $20, whatever it is, part to add to a dio. So Miss Jessam says you got that right. So it's Steve Jessam is the company. You guys are awesome. It was great meeting you guys and your sons at Legions Con. Tyler says the swords are called Jian and the other weapon is a Quan Dao. Okay. I love them, whatever they're called. I'll forget that, but I love them. I think they look phenomenal. And I like that we're getting, new and different weapons. Like we're not just getting the same ones that we've had before. Like I said, new axes, new swords, new spears, on and on and on. I'm all for it. David Williams is here. He says, "What's up, man?" And shout out to David Williams. I didn't take a picture of them. I don't know why I forgot to take a picture of them. David painted up some custom heads that I sent him, and they look fantastic. So I'm definitely going to be posting those as soon as I can. I honestly have barely unpacked. I was home for like 4 days, and now I'm back out of town. I'm as I said, you see my collection behind me because I'm not at home. So I'm definitely going to have to post a bunch of pictures of the stuff that I picked up, including the custom painted heads that I got from David. Tyler says, I've just been buying the animals, but I'll be getting some figures from Poxes and moving forward. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. I mean, the animals, I think, between the animals and Figura Obscura, I think Four Horsemen are sort of building this customer base of people that weren't, Mythic Legions collectors, maybe. But are slowly becoming Mythic Legion collectors because as soon as you get one or two of these things in hand, it's hard to deny, the quality and the craftsmanship. And, it's everybody that's like, oh, I'll just get one Mythic Legion now has a whole shelf full. I think it's impossible to just get one, but maybe not. There's probably somebody out there that just has one, but all right. Okay, I'm gonna go unicorn first, scapular Atlas bear, and then we will call it a night. So Umbra is of course Scapular, the Crypt Breaker's mount. Umbra is a unicorn. Umbra looks like, what would you expect? For what would you expect for Scapular? He's got a unicorn with like gold and tassely stuff going on. I showed this to my 4-year-old who was like absolutely ecstatic. I was FaceTiming them from Legions Con, and she was just like shouting just how excited she was that there was a unicorn. You do of course get and I'll get there. You do of course get the extra main, and you can de-unicorn this thing. But I love the tassels. I love the sort of opulence. I love the extravagance of this thing. I have a lot of horses, but this one is unique, and just a lot of fun. I mean, I think if you're gonna get Scapular version 2, this is kind of a no-brainer. I think if you're not going to get Scapular version 2, but maybe you've got like Grisha or something like that, I think this is still a no-brainer. You could put that Oni on here. You could put the beetle man on here, and just get a really, really cool combination. Because like I said, if you don't want this as a unicorn, you can still have it as sort of that it has, to me, it has sort of like a Middle Eastern sort of feel. I don't know exactly the area. I don't know, like, I'm not familiar enough, but it has a particular aesthetic that, we haven't quite seen yet from Mythic Legions as far as the mounts go. And I'm looking forward to this. I think this is a really, really cool addition. It was a little bit unexpected. Um, I, that we've been seeing multiple mount per wave, but I just didn't really expect this. I expected, maybe a rehash of a horse and a repaint. This, exceeded my expectations for sure. Um, Scapular, the Crypt Breaker version 2. Scapular, I say it all the time, I'm not a skeleton guy, but if a skeleton's good enough, I'll buy it. This figure is phenomenal. There's so much going on with this figure that it's, skeleton or not, it's sort of an undeniably fantastic figure, I think. You get so many accessories with this crazy thing. All the potions, all the stuff on his back, all the weapons, all the soft goods, new head, new sculpted sort of neck cloth piece. Everything about this is like perfection. It's done so well. It's executed so well. The fact that it gets a blow dart gun, but doesn't have lips, and they talked about that, which I thought was quite funny. Then, as I said, the soft goods on this thing, that mask, he's got that 300 vibe. This is, again, a fantastic figure, and this has that leather belt as well. So don't forget that little detail. Um, so much good stuff going on here, and yeah, it also, doesn't hurt that that Scapular got. There's all the accessories, so the pauldrons, as I said, the mask, that new shield, that domed shield, again, that very sort of Middle Eastern feel. Tons of extra hands, again, just like Mezco level extra parts there. And that, if the figure itself doesn't sell you on picking this one up, that shot right there, come on, how can you say no to that? um yes, that's a very good point, that David Williams makes, not to mention the new skeleton limbs with better range. Yeah, so there's, improvement on top of, improvement, in that, the accessories got better, the soft goods are getting better, the articulation's getting better. Like, they're not just sleeping on sort of re-releasing more bones. They're improving them and sort of adapting, and listening to what people are saying. The people that complain that Four Horsemen articulation isn't good enough, I got bad news for you. You got nothing to complain about anymore. These things pose great. And if you don't believe me, pick up a Valiant Knight, because that thing is so much better than any of the previous knights. And that's, the buck that we're going to see on all knights going forward, more or less. I mean, the articulation sort of scheme that we're going to see on the knights going forward. So, but yeah, like I said, if the figure itself isn't enough, you get that art. The art. I mean, it's art. It's not just a picture. This is art, that Trevor has done, and that should sell you on it. Um, Shout out to Mike from the Legion Slayer. Uh, you know, getting his, getting his sort of tribute figure, if you will, be sort of his favorite figure that already existed, is like kind of crazy. It's not just a tribute figure in sort of like, oh, here's a new character and we gave him this new name. This is Michael's like favorite, absolute favorite, top favorite figure. And to get, like, you know, to be your favorite figure, or for your favorite figure to sort of have a reference to you. I can't imagine how amazing that must feel. But congratulations to Michael from Legion's Lair, for getting, you know, for getting this guy sort of named after him, or at least his alias named after him, I guess. Um, I was saying to him, you know, how crazy is it to realize that your favorite figure was you all along and you just didn't know? So it was a little bit of I think it was a bit of a trip for him, because I think it took him. I mean, I haven't spoken to him in the last couple of days, but I'm, I, I assume he's sort of, you know, gotten his head around it, but he was still not quite there, you know, at the end of the weekend. He was still kind of like in shock. But congratulations to him. That's like a huge honor, and he deserves it. So. All right, let's take a look at Atlas the Conqueror version 2. That's our second version 2. And this guy, you know, the Noble Bear himself, tons of new parts going on here as well. So we got the that new articulation, that new improved, bigger, bulkier, manlier arm. I still don't love the asymmetrical. I still don't love, you know, that he has an alternate arm, and that the legs don't match. You know, for kit bashing and like for fodder reasons. So this will be a 1 for me. Like I only need 1, because with the asymmetry, I wouldn't know what to do with it. But again, for a guy that loves, you know, belts and straps and stuff like that, this guy's it, man. The pauldron with the bear, the fur, again, the weapons, the accessories that we get. He's a totally new sculpt for the head as well. Those furry boots. So it's fur on belts, on fur on straps on belts. We get that new Mercurian head as well, that Mercurian sword. I don't like Mercurians. You know, unapologetic about the fact that I don't like Mercurians. So if anybody needs that helmet, let me know, because I'll have one available. But like I said, I mean, the Atlas unhelmeted head for me is everything. Like that's the head that he's going to get displayed with. And the axe as well is going to be the go-to for me. The removable wrist gauntlet is cool. So this wrist gauntlet here is actually a removable piece. So typically what we've seen is you know, if somebody has armor on the wrist, that's the forearm piece. But this one, you know, you can pop that off and have a bare forearm, which I think is really, really cool. You know, I guess not secretly, because I'm about to say it, I'm hoping that, you know, going forward we see more of that, because I think it's a cool move. And there you get that superhero pose in the picture that Trevor's got. It's just a great looking photo. It's a great looking figure. So I'm really, really excited to get Atlas version 2. I don't have Atlas version 1, so. Trevor says asymmetry is interesting. I don't disagree. I just for the purposes of like parts reuse and getting multiple figures, for me, I prefer to have the option to have matching arms. But that being said, you know, we're getting you know, we're getting bare arms with Brodor. So, you know, there are bare arms there that you could use, and you could use, you know, Atlas parts and sort of mix and match. I mean, that's the fun of Mythic Legions, isn't it? That all the parts work together. You know, you could find a different armored arm. You could find a different, you know, you can mix and match. You can do your thing. I just don't tend to buy as many of the asymmetrical figures for that purpose. That's all I'm saying. This thing looks like Atlas, you know, looks great. And the asymmetry works because, you know, the backstory, you know, his history of being everything is everything, right? So he's got a little bit of everything in there, which is, you know, it adds depth to the character. It adds depth to the figure as well, in terms of just the sort of storytelling. that they're doing with the figures as well. So I'm digging the figure big time. You can't get everything all at once. Yes, we will get those arms, right? We will get the bear arms. We will get, you know, all those pieces. They're out there. They're gonna be there. So I'm not worried about it. And I think, you know, I think Atlas is one of the standouts of this line. So, or of this well, of the line too, probably. Um, Trev, you've had it in hand. I can only imagine that it's you know, the version 1 was a phenomenal figure, right? This is just the upgrade to that figure. So Josh says, I want a duplicate of him, if only for the head to repaint his hair for an Adamon. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Adamon's not exactly the easiest thing to pick up. Last but not least, and I was shooting for an hour, so we're going to be right around there, hopefully. Last but not least, Bodvar, the bear. This, I think this stole the show. I think, you know, at G-Con, this was, you know, the most anticipated. And I think, you know, I think anybody that says that they were like sure that we were going to get a bear, the people that were like predicting a bear, I think it was like wishful thinking. I think it was like if we all say it, maybe it'll come true. But you know, this thing is absolutely phenomenal. The sculpting of all that hair, you know, the articulation, you know, just the way that this thing I'm I'm at a loss for words, to be perfectly honest. I was then, and I still am a week later. I've looked at this bear so many times, and I can't get over just how good it looks. On top of that, you know, the fact that it's a mount, you know, the fact that Atlas can ride this thing into battle because we get that alternate face. It just, I could look at this thing all day. But that alternate head, like I said, with the big open, growly, angry head, is sort of the icing on the cake. And then, you know, if that's not enough, the thing stands up. So there isn't a picture of it because it was sort of a last minute thing. I mean, that's a great shot, though, isn't it? Atlas on the bear. But the fact is, this thing stands up, and there's an alternate neck piece. It didn't work to get the articulation in the head so that it could sort of stand up properly. So you get another neck piece, and the neck piece is the size of a baseball. So like, there's so much stuff going on here. You get the alternate front paws that are sort of the big clawed front paws. It's so, you know, when he's gonna swipe at something or whatever, you can swap that out. But yeah, I was chatting with Cullen on Saturday night. We were talking about the bear, thinking it's only a matter of time before we get a bear in Cosmic Legions that stands up with like armor on the bear standing up. That was Cullen's idea, not mine, but I agree with him. I think you know, it's only a matter of time before we see something like that. So, Tyler, 100%, man. Da bear. Tyler says it's scary beautiful. Yeah, Tyler, did you see it in person? Were you at Legion's Con? Sorry, I don't know. I don't always know, like, if the names don't always line up with, you know, people that I meet and so on and so forth. But seeing it in person is like, the pictures are great, but actually seeing it, oof, it's. I think it's true across the line that Trevor's pictures look stunning and they make these things look amazing, but you can't really appreciate them until you see the actual physical form of these things. and Bodvar is again, if you're just buying it as a bear, it's like it's without a doubt the best 6-inch scale articulated bear. I mean, there might be another one out there. I don't know of a lot of articulated 6 to 7-inch scale articulated bears. It's worth the purchase just because it exists in a way, if that makes sense. David Williams, like Richard before me, I saw Jeremy's phone while I was up for the reveal, and I saw the bear. I just went back to my seat knowing everyone was gonna freak out. Okay, so full disclosure, I was sitting with the Knights of the North, and Walter was sitting with us for a minute, and we saw the bear and the Minotaur before they revealed them too, and we were just like waiting. I was excited for the Minotaur. They were like less excited for the Minotaur, but they were like, when do we get the bear? I wonder how many people in that room knew that the bear was coming before the bear was revealed, because at the rate that people are sort of saying like, oh, yeah, I knew there was a bear because I'd seen it. I wonder how many people in the room actually knew the bear was coming, and I wonder how intentional that was. Walter's pretty good at keeping secrets, so I think there might have been an element of like, getting the crowd hyped. But anyway, regardless, it's the bear's out. Everybody's seen it now. Everybody loves it. Everybody wants it. But that is the wave, guys. That is the full wave. I went into G-Con wanting to not like this wave. I'll be totally honest. I went into G-Con 100% thinking that I was gonna try to skip as many of these figures as I could. I went hard on sort of the last few waves, and I was like, okay, I'm running out of space. Oh, and Trevor says that was definitely not intentional. Oh, okay. It was a wave where I was like, okay, I don't, House of the Noble Bear, Sons of the Red Star, not my favorite factions. I was thinking we'd get more of what we'd seen. We'd get a couple barbarians, we'd get a couple this, we'd get another skeleton, whatever. There's nothing in this wave that I don't like. It's gonna be a problem to try to figure out what to get extras of, what to try to skip. I don't know. Anyways, a couple more things about the weekend. Mr. Backtastic, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Let's bring. Okay, so that was G-Con. We got all the reveals. A couple other cool things. The Mythic Legions. The 4 Horsemen were presented with a sword, a full sort of scale replica of the Aether Blade, which is really, really cool. There was a Q&A because they had extra time while they were waiting for the sword to sort of show up and get presented. They talked about the fact that we're probably going to see that bear get reused sooner rather than later. There was a couple other things. Check out the video if you want to sort of see that. I'm not really going to go over that. But it was, there were some really cool questions, some really interesting questions in there that are worth listening to. That's sort of the last, 30 minutes or so of G-Con, give or take. David Williams, has anyone considered why Atlas has a neon green skull emblem on both releases? You think he has some weird attachment to Scaphoid? Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's just, rule of cool. Maybe it just looks good in green. Maybe they did it in green on the first one, so they just sort of carried it over to the second one to sort of keep the continuity. Maybe there's something there, lore wise, right? Atlas has been everywhere and been everything. I don't know of a connection, between Scaphoid and Atlas, but that doesn't mean that it's not there. It just means that I'm a dum-dum and I don't know that kind of thing. There very well could be, more there. There was, where is it now? Where is it now? Hold on. The computer is not cooperating again. Surprise, surprise. No reaction? Surprise, surprise. Somebody asked, I think it was Saphium, asked, what do you do at the con once you've sort of, how do you keep busy for 2 days once you've sort of done a lap? I'll be perfectly honest with you. If you get bored at Legions Con, I don't know. I don't know how you would get bored at Legions Con. There's so much cool stuff. There are, table after table after table of custom figures, custom painted heads, custom painted accessories, 3D printed parts that you can get for like $5 a piece, or more, whatever. You can buy calendars from Trevor, 1/6 shooter. You could buy wine poppers. There was wine stopper things. Somebody had done a set of 6 wine stoppers, and I didn't even see those till Sunday afternoon. There's so much stuff to see, and there's so much like detail in so much of the work that if you can get through all of that in like one go, like you've done something that like no one else that's there has been able to achieve. Because I'm not kidding, most people at the end of Sunday were kind of like talking about things that they saw, things that they got, things that they thought were cool, and most everybody was like, I never even saw that, like where was that? um and Trevor's saying it right there. You can walk around 3 or 4 times and still miss stuff. I did. I mean, that's the thing. Now, I full disclosure was working at the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom booth. So on Friday night after we set up, I was able to do like a quick lap, sort of see where everybody was, and I was able on Friday, night, and Saturday morning before the doors opened, and then sort of throughout the day a little bit, and then at the end of the day, and then before it opened again on Sunday morning, and then a little bit throughout the day, was able to kind of check everything out. But like I said, there was so much stuff that I missed, that I genuinely think that even if you weren't like a Mythic Legions collector, just seeing the sheer talent and the passion and just all the cool stuff, I don't think you could get bored. Like, I don't think there was anybody that was, and I'm the guy that normally is like, I'll go through a convention floor pretty quick. Legion's Con is the exception because there's so much stuff, and it's the details on things. And it's chatting with everybody, right? Like everybody there is a creator or creative, and so the conversations, between exhibitors were some of the most fascinating conversations too. We talked to the guys from Cyberzoic, we talked to the Metaverse guys, we talked to the Plunderlings guys, we talked to everybody, and it was really, really fun to just chat with people. And everybody is just genuinely like passionate and caring and encouraging, and there's just nothing but good vibes, man. um it's just unlike any other convention that I'd certainly ever been to. Which is, why I don't hesitate to recommend Legions Con to anybody. If you're at all interested and you can make it, it's well worth making the trip. Okay, so a couple more slides and then we'll wrap it up. So that was G-Con. We went over, the new wave. This is the convention floor. It was huge. I don't even know how many tables were in there, but like I said, if you could get through there, this is pre set up, but this is the only way I could get a shot of a full ballroom, because everybody started putting up, their posters and their banners and their walls, and it was like Friday night was chaos. Just everybody trying to rush to get everything set up, but it was a ton of fun. But it's a massive room. This is one room. There was an overflow room as well, and then there was the exclusives were sold in the hallway. There was also a table of some con exclusives and things in the hallway as well. Shout out to Kevin. Kevin picked me up a New Jersey Comic Con Plunderlings exclusive that I kept meaning to get out to that table, and it was outside. It was sort of outside the main room, and I was just running around like crazy, working the Animal Warriors or the Kingdom table. Just chatting with Kevin, and I mentioned, yeah, I got to get to that table. I got to get that Plunderling. Like 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, I don't even know how long it was. Kevin comes back to the table and goes, "Here you go, my man," and he gifted me the purple translucent Plunderlings. What's it called? Drench Abyss, and it's like, man, the figure is amazing, but the gesture is even more amazing. But that's the Cabal. That's the Mythic Legions community, right? People just helping people out, people giving each other gifts. Like I said, the cooler's full of beer. Everybody just encouraging everybody else to have a good time. You don't have to drink the beer. Nobody was making anybody drink beer. I'm just saying that's like, it was there if you wanted it. But there was food, like people were, there was the tomato pie, there was pizza, there was snacks. There was always somebody to go have a meal with. There was always somebody to have a conversation with. It was just absolutely like the best weekend. I don't think anybody felt like an outsider. It's the other thing, you think about a convention like this where it's big and there's all these people. Anybody could sort of rock up to like any table or any conversation and just jump right in. Everybody was just super friendly, and it's I don't know. I mean, I don't think you can explain it in a way that does it justice. You just have to go to experience it yourself. The exclusives at the convention, of course, we had the Vorgus Vermilius version 2. The surprise, not exclusive, but the surprise figure at the Four Horsemen table was the Valiant Knight. So this is, of course, the knight with the improved articulation. And boy, oh boy, it is a fun figure to play with. Comes with a 2.0 head neck joint as well. The neck joint has articulation in it now. Like like every piece of the articulation got improved. When you can get your hands on one of these, if you haven't already, I would strongly recommend that you get one. Vorgus Vermilius is fantastic as well, on the channel already. My Valiant Knight, I've done a video for. That'll go up on Monday as well. So if you want to check that out, feel free. People have done way better versions. Don't bother watching mine. Go watch Dork Lairs. His is better than mine. But very, very cool figures. And then, of course, we got the 2-pack on Sunday, the Wall Tour 2-pack. So we got the skeleton for Mythic and the skeleton Spaceman for Cosmic. And if you didn't get yours signed by Walter, you're probably in the minority. I wonder if the non-signed version is going to become more of a collector's item, based on how many I saw Walter sign. Walter, bless Walter's heart, 5 hours he stood signing figures out in the hallway, just going through pen after pen after pen, running out of ink and just everything. And then, the next day, people still getting them signed. And he you know, he wouldn't say no to anybody. I mean, that's Walter in a nutshell. And Walter is a big reason why, you know, this community is what it is. He's well deserving of these figures, and you know, shout out to Walter for everything that he does for Mythic Legions, for everything that he does for the Cabal, everything that he does just as a person to sort of help and support other people. Like that's the thing, right? The Mythic Legions is like the platform for it, but Walter's just that guy. He's just a genuinely generous, kind-hearted, amazing dude. So shout out to Walter. My humble haul for the weekend. Um, you know, I was limited by space in my carry-on luggage, but I did. Shout out to Dennis Derby. I did manage to get an Elf Ranger that sort of checks off my last sort of most wanted figure. And then I picked up a couple of the reinforcements, two wave. So I got the vampire, the black knight, the vampire, the gold knight, and two of the Silverhorn sentries. I blew it. I totally went in planning to buy three Silverhorn sentries, two for sentries, and then one as fodder. And in the like the chaos that is you know, the Four Horsemen line, even after hours, they let exhibitors, once attendees sort of had to leave at the end of the day on Saturday, they let exhibitors sort of get in line and sort of grab figures. um and I was just like panicking, and I forgot how many I needed, and I grabbed the wrong number. But life goes on. I can live without the third Silverhorn sentry. But then I got the Valiant Knight as well, and I had picked up the Vorgus Vermilius. So that's, as I said, that's my humble haul for the weekend. I think that's my last slide too. Yeah, that's my last slide. So it was just altogether just an amazing weekend, ton of fun. As I said, if you can get there and you're at all interested, definitely do that. I got t-shirts too. I forgot to mention. I got Jesse's t-shirt, which I absolutely love. I got my Armies of Ashmore t-shirt. Obviously I got a couple Animal Wars of the Kingdom t-shirts, stickers too, stickers and pins. You know, everybody seemed to be like handing everybody sticker. Everybody just had stickers. I got like a stack of stickers. I got some pins. I haven't even gone through them all. I don't even know what I have. Like it was just chaos. It was, you know, a whirlwind of a weekend. But it was something else, man. It was something else. And if, man, I keep saying it, but I genuinely, like, if you're at all interested, if you can swing it, get to Legions Con next year, because it is well worth it. And there's going to be even more cool stuff to buy by then. My other piece of advice: take a piece of check bag, even if you don't think you need that much stuff, because you'll run out of space. I know I did. All right. Questions, comments, anything? I'm going to wrap it up in a couple minutes here. So if anybody has something that they want to fire in the comments there very quickly, I'll certainly take a look at that. Otherwise, you know, I'm gonna wrap it up and call it a night. I'm still not caught up on sleep. I'm still not caught up on sleep. So I'm on the West Coast. It's still early, but I'm going to shut this down and pretty much go to bed right now. Anyone? Josh, did you check out the Glyos? Yes, 100% I did. They were right next to us. They were sort of just across the aisle from the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom table. That stuff is so cool, man. They had a couple tables. I don't know that stuff well enough, but I know that like everybody that's into the Glyos stuff was like really pumped on that table. Derek, who was working at the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom table with me, bought a bunch of stuff. And he was like, yeah, this is one you can only get here. This is the one that you can only get, you know, oh, this is like the last opportunity you're going to get to be able to buy.
Did it shut off?
No, you can open your chips now.
Oh.
bless my wife, she's sitting here quietly in this small condo that we're at, wanting to open her bag of chips. She was worried she was going to make too much noise. Um, Josh says, I've been really liking the Manglores. I think Derek bought one of those actually. I didn't. It was like in the chaos of like what he was buying and showing me. There was different size figures, and then there was different figure like some. I'm pretty sure he bought one though. Is there an orange one? I think he bought an orange one, if I'm remembering correctly. But anyways, yes, they're cool figures. They're all this stuff that those Glyos guys were doing was really really cool. The Glyos guys were doing cool stuff. Like I said, I mentioned, I mentioned a couple of the other sort of creatives that were there. Four Horsemen, everybody's sort of there because of the Four Horsemen. But there was some people doing some cool stuff just down the way from us, and I keep forgetting what they were called. But shoot, I feel terrible now. Like I said, there was so much good stuff that you couldn't. I haven't processed it all. I haven't been able to process it all. I haven't been able to unpack the stuff that I do remember, right? Like there's just so much cool stuff to think about. And every time I'm like sitting down to think, okay, what else do I want to talk about? I'm like, oh, and there was also this table. Oh, and there was also this customs, the Telltale Creations, I think is what they were called. They did like a full Robin Hood custom series. That might have been my favorite. Eric Miller's customs, his turtles that are perennial favorites. Emma Wickman's whole table, just in general, was absolutely stunning. Legendary is fantastic. That's not the one I'm thinking of, but yeah, the Meta Traveler's Legendary figures. They had all the prototype figures there. They were bonkers. Like, I don't know what to say. Armies of Ashmore, again, Armies of Ashmore, he had his test shots on the table. And I got to pick it up. I got to like pose it and play with it. Those are phenomenal. No, it was the Galactic something. I feel terrible now because we chatted with them a bunch because they were just like two tables down from us, and so like we checked out their stuff. We were like neighbors. It was like neighbors hanging out, and now I feel like a jerk because I can't remember what they were called. But they have a line that is already out. That's kind of a very simple version of an action figure, and they went from that version to like these crazy sci-fi figures with like full articulation, pinless joints, like double jointed pinless, like everything you'd want. The figures look phenomenal. Yes, Josh, thank you. Galactic Valor. They are, yeah, Fox Forge Toys. Yes. And yeah, thank you guys for saving my butt and helping me not look like a total jerk. Yeah, Fox Forge Toys is doing a new line called Galactic Valor, and it looks beautiful. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. The legendary figures look great. The Cyberzoic stuff, I hate how much I love the Cyberzoic stuff because it's 1/18 scale, but they got me. But yeah, I mean, all this stuff that just sort of Cyberzoic doesn't fit with Mythic Legions, but all this stuff that like fits with Mythic Legions and Cosmic Legions, right? That universe expands, right? You can add the legendary figures, you can add the Galactic Valor, you can add, whatever you want. Start mixing and matching. The community is amazing. The community is encouraging. It's uplifting. It's generous and kind. You're gonna get bad apples. There's always gonna be somebody that does something stupid or says something stupid. But generally speaking, I mean, I've never seen a community like this one. And to sort of experience it, in person is, the cabal is one thing, but to be there in person it's a magical weekend. It's a magical weekend. And like I said, if I just realized that my banner's been running like that for the whole hour and a half. Let me change that. You know, if you can get there, I would strongly recommend that you do next year. I'm definitely already trying to figure out, you know, how to get there and whether, you know, so anyways, hour 25, I'm going to call it. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you guys for joining me. Anybody that was watching live, hanging out in the chat, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's way more fun to do this when there's other people hanging out. I would probably do it anyway, but it's kind of sadder and lonelier if I was here all by myself. So thank you guys for joining me. If you are watching in the replay, I appreciate you as well. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And if you don't want to miss future videos, hit the bell icon to get the notifications. Later to you too, David. What was that? Why did I just have balloons on the screen? What was that? I don't know how that happened or why. Anyways, I was going to say safe travels to you, David, but I'm pretty sure you're at home, so that wouldn't work. I did say that to a lady in Newark Airport who's like, you know, have a good trip. And I said, you too. And then I was like, I have a good day. New iOS, do a thumbs up. Oh. Hey, there you go. Is there other stuff like that? I gotta figure that out. I am the least tech savvy person that has ever done, you know, what I'm doing. I didn't hit the button to loop this stupid track either. All right, it's been a pleasure. I gotta get off here. My brain is cooked, and my time is up. Josh says, hand pink waving. Sometimes they don't translate. Keithlin, yes, thank you. See you again. Solo Sinner, have a great night, everybody. You too, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'll talk to you guys again very, very soon. Thank you and good night. Bye-bye.